you're listening to the Mackay T Show podcast. Here are your hosts, Brian Mackay and T Davis.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.
Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. We're going to start off by hitting the button.
It's time for the top 5.
Top 5. And the reason we are starting off with the top 5 is because we have had a listener request to do a top 5 list. We've got a request in a Facebook message from Judy from Bakersfield. Judy, thank
What's
you so
happening,
much.
Judy?
Thank you so much for listening to the show. And we
Yes.
know you listen because in your message, when you requested that we do our top 5 current TV shows, you also put in there as a caveat that if it's just Brian that does it, that's fine with you because you understand that
Which is hilarious because I don't watch TV. When Brian told me that, I was done. I was like, well, they must have been paying attention and they must listen to quite a few because I don't have to say that a lot. But I have said that on a couple occasions. Like, I don't watch television.
And like we discussed yesterday when I told you about this, I was going to wait until today to tell you, but I went ahead and told you that part of it.
Man, I was so undone.
Because it's just, Judy, thank you so much. We understand you really are paying attention because T will say that, but not often. One and two, when she does say it, it's just just casually. It's not like a big part of our discussion. It's just kind of
Right.
casually thrown out there. So you really have to be paying attention, and for someone to be paying attention to what you and I talk about that well, we definitely have to give it the shoot.
Shout out. You get a round of applause. Judy. Woohoo!
So, Judy, here we go. Here
All
are
right, Judy.
my top
Brian, what you
5
got?
current TV shows. All right. Whew. Okay. I have This Is Us. Comes on Tuesday nights, allegedly, on NBC. And I say allegedly because, man,
Ain't nothing been coming on apparently.
if there's one show that gets preempted or moved around more than Equalizer, it is definitely This Is Us. I feel like they'll have 2 straight weeks of episodes and then they'll be off for 3 months. And right now it's kind of that way because of the pandemic. But
Don't be like everybody else, Brian, and blame it on that. UPS, your package is gonna be late because we experienced a delay. Everybody, go ahead. It ain't the
I'm just saying,
pandemic.
but I mean,
Stop blaming it on the
Us.
pandemic.
This Is Us really can't blame it on the pandemic because they've been like this for all of their seasons. So This Is Us, very good show, and if it wasn't a very good show, all these stops and starts would be a detriment. But very good show. A Million Little Things comes on ABC. Used to be on Thursday nights right after Grey's Anatomy. Now it is moved to Wednesday nights to kind of give it its own, night on ABC. That's a very good show. It's actually based off a true story of a group of friends. One of the friends committed suicide, and just kind of sees the fallout of all of this. I don't know how much, because now I think it's in season 3, and I don't know how much of the story they're still following, but very good show. New Amsterdam. I love me a good hospital drama, and this is now, I think it's 3rd or 4th season. I should have looked this up before I made my list, but nevertheless, it follows all the good tropes of a hospital drama. Keeps you invested, keeps you on the edge of your seat. Each season has been really good, and I love all the characters in it. You get invested in the characters and their storylines, and that's what I like about shows like this. All Rise, just as New Amsterdam is good in the hospital, All Rise is great in the courtroom, and it comes on CBS on Mondays. and it's something I look forward to every Monday evening. I usually don't get to it till Tuesday afternoon, but that doesn't matter. And last, I have Manifest, and this is kind of like a sci-fi drama where a plane goes missing, and 5 years later, the plane and the crew and the passengers, everybody returns, and mysteriously, nobody knows what happens. And here we are, we're in the third season, and we're rocking and rolling, and we're actually about to kind of see where the plane just has been gone for all this time. We're actually about to see what happened to the plane on this week's episode, hopefully. So this is, yeah, it's been a very good show. I have some honorable mentions. I don't want to step on T, so I'm going to exclude one of them because I know she's going to have it in hers. So the rest of my honorable mentions are
Well,
kind
hold on,
of
we'll do honorable mentions together because I really don't have a list. Shout out to my mama. She the
okay.
one. This is kind of her list because she
Okay,
watched way more
right,
television than I do. Only
right.
one of these things would have been on mine, and that would have been the Equalizer.
Equalizer,
But
yes.
it don't come on. It come on once a month, and so I don't even know what is really happening. Cause my mama said it didn't come on last night because some country music festival. I mean, award something was on. I was like, I'm about to be over Equalizer.
Shout out to the fans of the ACM American Country Music Awards. So
AMC, yeah.
yeah.
AMC, AACM, whatever. Yeah, that sound right. They was out there in Nashville, um, at the Grand Ole Opry. Um, so she's an NCIS fan.
Hmm.
She got All Rise. That's one of yours. Bull. She really likes Bull
Yes, another good one.
and All American.
That's one of my honorable mentions. Yes, very good show.
So that's really not my top five because Judy, you right. I don't watch enough television. I have one, and the Equalizer is the only thing that I watch. Well, I can't even watch consistently because it don't come on consistently. But that's about it. I don't. I never. uh, Half of them things Brian just talked about. I don't even know. Al Rise. I saw a trailer for it. That's about it. Bull. I don't. I know what the premise of it is. I think I saw a piece of one. NCIS Los Angeles just has been going on for 200 years. I tried to watch New Orleans versions of NCIS. Do it still come on? I don't even know.
I don't know if New Orleans does. I know. I swear, I think they're in another iteration of it. It's they have so many of them, but it's been such a long-standing show, and it's because of, first of all, it's a good show, and secondly, they've been able to kind of move it around the country and have different versions of it and keep you interested.
Yeah, the Los Angeles started going to I don't know. They was bringing in. I guess they were trying to spice it up. I didn't care
Right?
for the little, and I didn't see the times a whole lot of the times when Neil Long was on it because I was sporadically watching it. But I didn't connect with her character. I'll say.
I forgot about her. Yes, yes, yes.
Um, And then there was some characters on New Orleans version. I probably watched that more than any of them, and that was because for some reason they had reruns on the weekend. What they used to now they don't. One of these channels that I have on my little antenna. Um, she also likes Chicago PD. I don't know if
Mm.
that's one of yours. And 911 or something. Mercy.
Yeah, that's another good one.
With
Yeah, I didn't have either one of them in my honorable
with
mentions. Now that Mama has put All American out there, the rest of my honorable mentions are basically comedy shows.
oh, okay.
So I have Bob Hart's Abishola. Love that
Hmm.
show. It comes on Monday nights. And right after my next one on this list is The Neighborhood, which is Cedric the Entertainer's show on Monday nights. Him and
Okay.
Pam from Martin, Tachina Arnold, are a married couple on that show. That show is hilarious. Um, and Young Rock, which is Dwayne Johnson's TV show, comes on Tuesdays,
Oh,
and he basically goes through his childhood and how he grew up, and all the way through college. And I'm sure we're gonna see him, how the series is gonna end when he becomes a
the
big time
Rock is
star.
cooking.
So But
Huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's because I grew up a wrestling fan, so it has his dad who was a wrestler.
Right.
It has all of his dad things I didn't even know, even though, and I know a lot of inside stuff I didn't even know this all when that went down. His dad, while a part of the WWF at the time with Vince McMahon, he also was a part of a family group um, where his his mother, no, his mother-in-law was in charge of a group that had all kind of that would use WWF wrestlers. They had like an agreement with Vince McMahon, and they used Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, uh, Iron Sheik, and
Yeah. I
and
don't know
all
these
of
people.
these guys, and it's been really cool to see, the interactions, whether this is all 100% true or not. You know,
Yeah, it's all not. I can just go ahead and tell you it's not, but go ahead.
it's still fun to see all that. The fact that they were even that close to begin with was pretty cool. So
That
that
part
that was
probably is like that those relationships, but they gotta fluff it up. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, and the premise of the show is Rock is 2032 and Rock is running for president. And he's being interviewed and he's being talked to. He's given out his past and he's being interviewed by Detective Wu. Uh,
You really like this show because you ain't, yeah. You all into this.
well,
I,
I
I
did, and I know I was kind of flying through my other answers, but yeah,
yeah, and then you giving a in depth detail. I am interested to see Jamie Foxx's new show. I think it's on Netflix.
yes,
Uh, him with raising a daughter or
yeah,
something.
Dad, stop embarrassing me. Yes,
Yeah. So that should be interesting. I didn't love the trailers, but I think it should be interesting. We'll see. I don't know when it starts, but I know
it is
he
out. It
was,
came out Friday.
yeah,
Um,
okay, he was on one of the shows I
I
watch.
need to rewatch.
News.
It's,
Oh, you watched one of them?
I watched the entire season. It's 30-minute episodes. They go
Oh,
by
that's
real
right.
quick.
They put everything up. You don't have to wait.
So I watched it, but I was doing other things while watching. I
Mhm.
need to rewatch because once I got finished, I kind of felt like eh, it was good. It started off, funny and it has a good story because you're seeing him with his daughter, who him and his wife have been separated. His daughter is coming to live with him. I don't know. I can't remember. This is how bad I don't remember details. I can't remember if the wife died. I want to say the wife may have died, and the
Well,
ex-wife may have died, and that's
yeah.
what makes the daughter come live with him. And they don't really have a great relationship because he's been off doing his thing, and they're trying to get to know each other, which is a good story. David Allen Greer plays his dad, and that's a
Right.
hilarious dynamic. Um,
From
but
the
you do,
trailer, I just found I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it because it's too silly. Like there's a line that you just be like, okay, we don't need to laugh. Like, yeah, we need to laugh because the world, but you just going over the top about it. Like, just make some funny stuff but make it serious. Like people are seriously, dads are out here raising children or whatever. But
and
it
they
ain't gotta be
allude.
funny all the way through. Every
He has like this lady that's like his. I guess you would call it his business partner, and they allude that there's some like some kind of love tension between them,
mm,
but they never capitalize. They never even come close to capitalizing on it, and you don't know if they're gonna get a second season. And maybe they are, and that's why they didn't. Maybe they've already got a second season in
like
the
when he
works.
the preacher and stuff, I was like, okay, this
Yeah,
is a lot. And yeah, I mean, I know you were a comedian on that's your first thing, how we met you, but I was gonna give a couple of episodes a try. You know me, I see a couple and it be like, this too much foolishness, and I'll be like, deuces, I see y'all on the flip side.
yeah, but yeah. So
But thank
I'm
you,
not.
Judy. That was a good one because I don't think, obviously, I wouldn't have come up with that because I don't watch TV enough to be able to. I had to outsource my answers.
Yes, Judy, that was thank you for that because sometimes me and T we get to thinking about things to do a top 5 list on, and struggle to come up with stuff. So
Yeah, to just be random, like, oh yeah, let's do a top 5 on that. So they are random. So if y'all have them, we will be happy to give
yes,
it a try, a good old college try.
and if you do have one, you can reach us like Judy did on Facebook. You can reach us on Instagram, Twitter, at the Mac T Show, or at our email address, the Mac letter N T Show at gmail.com. So let's transition right on into more TV action, and we're talking a little round ball. NBA.
Falling, we fly,
So
no
the
lie. You know this. Oh, I'm sorry, I get distracted either.
the play-in tournament. If everything ended today and we were getting ready to play the play-in tournament, this is how it would look. Seventh and eighth seed in the Western Conference would be Dallas Mavericks and the Memphis Grizzlies. They would play each other. The winner would obviously go on to be I guess, the seventh seed. Loser would drop and would play the winner of Golden State and San Antonio, 9-10 seed. The loser of that game automatically gets into the lottery. The winner goes on, plays the loser of the first game, like I said. And the winner of that game goes into the eighth spot. I just gave it
This
very
is
hard.
stupid. I don't know why they got this playing tournament. Just let people the spots be the spots.
And just because I said who would be in the West at this point, the East as of today would be Miami and Charlotte in the 7-8 game, Indiana and Toronto in the 9-10. I mean, it's something
What's the
different.
point of this?
It's something different. It was kind of cool, even though it was very confusing because they didn't really explain it well in my view. Because I watched every second of the bubble last year, and I don't feel like I was. I mean, I
But they
figured
did
it
that
out.
last year because they didn't have sufficient games. It makes no
Yeah,
sense to do it now. You people are playing their games and whatever spot they get, they get. Like, why are we doing play in?
I just think they're just trying different things, and
Well, they need to try to raise the rim. How about that? Or try, like I said, to do something about these 3-point shots. We got options.
yeah, one
Yeah.
matchup that if it were to come into fruition would put Dallas and Golden State against one another, which would put Luca and Steph Curry. And Steph Curry
Balling out.
has been on a crazy run. I actually watched his game the other night. I think he had
He had
47.
40 something, and the other guy had 44.
Is and uh,
The
he had
dude
shots
from
that
the
was crazy.
Celtic.
Yeah, Jason Tatum. That was a duel back and forth. Um, Steph Curry just is back doing his thing where he just hits shots from everywhere. Honestly, for the Golden State Warriors, it would probably be beneficial for them to lose, drop into the lottery one more year, come back next year with Steph, Draymond, a healthy Clay, God willing, and
Hmm.
James Wiseman. That's rested
Speaking of
from his knee.
injuries, James gone. Didn't he
Yeah,
hurt something?
yeah, he's hurt. He's out.
Durant
Yeah,
got a hurt injury, thigh or something the other day,
yeah.
yesterday.
But no, if Golden State were to do that, they could get them another lottery pick to go with that group, which would be scary. But yeah, injuries was next on my list. We can roll right into that. Um, yeah, James Wiseman out for the year. KD, as we were on the phone yesterday, you informed me that he has.
Yeah, he hurt his thigh.
Yeah,
It looked like they bumped knees. I thought he had hurt something from just going to the basket. When you hurt your hamstring, that's the opposite muscle. It's a lot. He probably shouldn't be playing just yet. And all them long. You remember when they played all them minutes that first game back?
yes, he jumped right on out there.
Um, Usually they put you on minutes restrictions. Then you got the kid from Murray from the Nuggets. He done tore his ACL.
Yeah, that
LeBron and
one hurt.
AD
That
been
one
out,
hurt because I loved watching them play in the bubble last year. That
and
meant a
AD
nice.
that's injury prone. That's a regular for him, but the rest of the people not so much.
I'm
Um,
starting to think the D and AD starts but did not play or did not dress.
and now we got two ADs. And Lord, he don't came out here and hurt his toe the first game. And somebody step on his toe and lose a whole toenail, and he missed 2 or 3 games. I was like, y'all need to find some steel toe basketball shoes and let's keep it going. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, it's look like every game somebody hurt, which is even Donovan Mitchell. Is that his name? He twists his ankle out for a week or so.
Yes.
And I saw a report that said that there wasn't as many that the injuries were down, and I was like, well, maybe it's stars are getting hurt, and that's why we actually seeing and paying attention because it
Yeah,
looked
because
like
you and
every
I
other
was
day
talking.
somebody hurt.
Yeah, we were talking the other day about it, and was like it just seems like it's a lot more. I mean, we were kind of saying, well, they did kind of quickly come into this season after finishing last season, and this is the generation of rest. And so maybe their bodies just, I mean, their bodies, like you said,
Well, I
not.
ain't gonna say it's the like that whole sitting out thing that was happening with Kawhi. That was a mess, and that's some generational stuff. But they're not used to. I don't even think you should be playing every other day at the intensity of that they play. The level that they playing, you do need a couple of days off here and there. But they're
Right.
not. They're pretty much playing every other night,
Yep.
and so that I mean, if they want these stars to be around when, because ain't nobody gonna want to watch these games. You know how Dame Lillard wind up sitting out of that last Portland game. Like people gonna be trying to put an asterisk on somebody win because my main player was hurt and didn't play. Which I mean, it is what it is. Um,
They still trying to put an asterisk on the Lakers win last year.
Cause it's a bubble. Yeah, and
Hmm.
I'm just like, well, whatever. We still got that ball, and it's still 17. Y'all can say what you want to say, but we got the ball and we got the crown.
Oh man, Eh, I see here on the standings. There's a chance that the Lakers could end up in this play-in mess.
Well, it don't matter. They need the more games they get, preferably they'll get healthy, and they're gonna need as many games as they can anyway, because like AD and the new AD and LeBron and none of them don't play together.
AD and AD Duh part two.
So that that won't be a big deal because that like shoot, AD don't have a whole bunch of rest. Well,
Um,
at this point, what's name gonna have 6 weeks of rest too, so they'll be fine if they have to play some extra games.
are we ready to get into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5, titled Truth. We open with Captain Arrogant, still seething from the death of
Man,
Battlestar
oh
and,
my God, I don't
and
like
killing
him.
of Nemo from the Flag Smashers. He has a tussle with Sam and Bucky over the shield. They go at it, and it's a fight reminiscent of in Civil War when Steve Rogers and Bucky fought off Iron Man. Um, Sam gives his broken wings to Agent Torres.
Well, yeah, let's take 1 second though. That fight was different in that Captain Arrogant was trying to kill. Like, I don't think that they were trying to kill each other. They were mad at each other, and they may have been trying to hurt each other.
Oh,
Captain,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear. I was more of how and
well,
I
no,
was
I
watching
got
a
it, but
video on
just
it.
for it to be clear for somebody that may
Yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah. I
he was
wasn't.
Arrogant was trying to kill. Like he was taking like I'm trying to lethal shots. Like when he ripped his wings off, I was like, this dude. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it was more of the way the thing laid out and the way the fights were, and I watched a video on this and what they kind of went frame by frame of how their fight motions were, and everything seemed almost like eerily reminiscent of their fight. So I apologize for being unclear, but yes, you are correct. Captain Arrogant was trying
Captain
to.
Arrogant, that ain't what we do out here trying to kill people. Go ahead.
So obviously during that fight, Falcon gets his wings ripped off. Uh, so he gives the broken wings to Agent Torres, and
Take these broken wings. Oh, I'm sorry. I get distracted.
Torres, for people that may not know, in the comics, he becomes another version of Falcon. So we may be seeing that here take shape. While Sam becomes Captain America, and Torres will become the new Falcon, which would be pretty cool. He's a nice little side character. Captain Arrogant appears for a disciplinary board. He is discharged, loses pension, all of his status, etc. Uh, he goes off on the group, telling them he's giving his life to them, and kind of
Arrogant.
like eerily proclaims that he is Captain America before
Yes.
storming out. Which you don't know how that would fly if he was. Excuse me, I had to wet my whistle. Um,
Oh Lord, I was like, what happened? Oh,
yeah,
because I wasn't looking at the screen. Go ahead.
that's okay. Yeah, I don't know how that would fly in this other kind of
I don't know
situation.
how that fly in real life. The military don't be playing like this. Him
Right.
talking crazy and just walking off, bruh. They would have grabbed him up so fast.
So Captain Arrogant was approached by our cameo that we apparently had been waiting on. Julia Louise Dreyfus, Elaine from Seinfeld, for everyone who needs a point of reference, has a cameo as Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. And in the comics, she is a long term Shield agent, actually a love interest at one point for Nick Fury, and it was also for a short time known as Madam Hydra. So she could possibly be maybe the last remnants of Shield, because obviously Shield is expanded at this point. It's kind of like its offshoot. It's got Sword that we saw in Wanda and the WandaVision show. But yeah, so she could be a kind of last remnants of Shield, or could be Hydra, could be making a comeback. She introduced herself to Captain Arrogant, gives him her card. We might possibly be seeing the start of Captain Hydra, which is a Captain America version of a version of Captain America that Hydra takes over in the comics. Or she could be working with Secretary Ross and building up the Thunderbolts group, which we are told we are getting in future in MCU show. The Dora Milaje are taking Zemo to the raft. That's the prison we saw out in the ocean in Civil War. Bucky asked Io for a favor, which later we see is a briefcase that he gives to Sam. We don't see what's in it, but we pretty much know it's going to be the new version of the Falcon wings with Captain America red, white, and blue. Sam visits Isaiah Bradley. That was a pretty cool moment where Isaiah kind of gives him a history lesson, tells him everything that the government
Any
did to him.
disrespectful black man don't want that job.
He basically tells him that those
Any self-respecting black man don't want to be Captain America.
uh,
And I think that was the part that I liked about it was because you talked about how they were talking about race and all
mm,
because he talks about how he was treated as Captain America and hidden and
a
did
race.
all that. They showed his side where they was doing all these tests and all on him.
And we found out a couple episodes back that the guy that perfected the new serum used samples from a test subject, which we now know was Isaiah.
Him.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he was treated when he went to save his friends compared to now he didn't compare it to, but in my mind I was like, okay, that's very different from Captain America, white guy that goes and saves Bucky and them. He's awarded and applauded and actually they take him off the whole stage play thing.
Mhm.
But he said he was reprimanded and all of that. So I was like, okay, that's a nice way to talk about the difference in race and how you treat it, and because he talked about how Americans were treated when they came back from the war and all. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
You good? Uh, Bucky and Sam do a little bonding. We'll just call it a bonding montage as they're in Louisiana
Yeah,
fixing up the family boat and training with the Shield. Bucky has a few moments with Sam's sister Sarah, which are hilarious.
them
I hope
googly
they
eye,
I hope they capitalize on that in some form later. I think that's funny.
and she smiling at him,
Yes, yes. It ain't what you want, Sarah. You're 106. Uh, Backdrop the Leaper joins the Flag Smashers, excuse me, with the help of Sharon Carter, who we learned was instrumental in Backdrop's mission in the first episode of the show. I don't know if this is Sharon going full on evil, or if she's kind of playing her own game to repair her image, where she eventually traps all these bad guys.
Yeah, she might be doing some undercover kind of detective stuff so she can
Right.
get back in good graces with America and come home.
Backdrop tells Carly that he's not joining their cause. He just wants to kill the Falcon. And then we get to the mid-credit scene where Captain Arrogant is melting down his Medal of
Making his
Honor
own
and
shit.
using his own shield.
Just like this dude don't lost it. He is like, I am Captain America, and I'm gonna make my own shield. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's what we getting to do.
All right, ain't no easy way to transition into our next topic, but it has to be talked about because it's just happening way too frequently. We've had since our last episode, I think, what a total of
4 or
10.
5 shoes. It might be more. I people just out here just wilding out,
Yes, and it's
just
just not
wilding
getting
out.
it's not getting any better.
And I'm interested to see what they say on Capitol Hill. We got Austin, Texas, the former sheriff detective shooting it. His wasn't really like no random mass shooting type thing. It sounded like he knew who he wanted to go shoot, and he went and shot 3 people. Then
Interesting, we do see his face, so we actually know what he looks like.
yeah, we know he a black man.
Yeah.
Cause we still don't know what color this triple shooter in Kenosha is that done killed 3 people and injured 3 people. Interestingly enough, it took us a little while to figure out why uh who shot the people at the FedEx. Was it FedEx?
FedEx, yes, in
8 people
Indianapolis.
killed. Then they finally showed him. And he was dead. He shot himself. Um and people, somebody's probably like, why it's got to be about race? Just because it's always something that's race. You curious? It's curious that you find a picture for the black guy to show. Yep, this is a black man. But for some reason, it take a little while for y'all to say, oh, well, we gonna go ahead and show the picture now. Even the dude that shot up the 10 people in Colorado, it took us a little while to see. Oh, it's the white guy, white domestic terrorist.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, the person in Kenosha, I mean, the lead stories right now about that is that he was apprehended.
But no
So
picture.
we have no. I mean, clearly we have a picture of the black guy, and it's his mugshot. I mean, that's obvious by the way he looks.
And then somebody else say, well, he's still on the run. Well, he can still be like, ain't nobody gonna should be trying to apprehend him but the police. So don't nobody need to know what he look like but the police.
And we also had, even though it happened literally the same day that we had our last episode, what's it, Deontay Wright?
Yeah. Then the police taser. Oh, I shot him. Bye, Felicia. I can't. Cause America's violent,
And
and
I know that some people are listening to this and they're probably screaming at their phone or their computer, whatever they're listening to this at, saying, and there are some people out there who are screaming, just get out the car, just comply. Let me direct you to this story of a 61-year-old man
yeah, Hammer Man.
in Minnesota, the same state that Deontay Wright. Am I saying it right? Deontay.
Dante, right? Mm-hmm.
The same state that this happened to Mr. Wright, where he was killed. This 61-year-old Minnesota man had a dispute. I believe. Let me get the store correct. I know it's
At
in.
the store, cause a mask, he hit somebody with some plywood or something, and I
Yes, so he
guess he
had a
left
dispute.
after that, and the
Yes,
police followed him.
yeah. The police, they get after it with the police. He gets in his truck, pulls off. Police is stuck on his window trying to apprehend him. He is taking a hammer from inside the truck as he is driving and beating the police with the hammer.
And dragging the man down the street. I
Yes,
can't. And
And
they
wait a
found a way
minute.
not to shoot him, Brian.
Wait a minute. All of this, like you just said, thank you. All of this happens. He is eventually apprehended, taken in, not dead, taken in alive.
And to be clear, let me be clear. I don't want white people shot. I don't want black people shot. I just want y'all to figure out how not to shoot black people the same way you figure out how not to shoot white people for some reason. That's what the goal is. It's not just like, oh, I want this 61-year-old to get shot. No, you can find a way to find just restraint. And so I want you to do the same thing when this 20-year-old tries to run for whatever reason. It's so many reasons he shouldn't have been pulled over, but because you racially profiling, because they already had said the Department of Motor Vehicles had told them, don't, pretty much you ain't got to pull people over because we haven't been able to make sure everybody's tags are up to date. So don't just be pulling people over. Okay, so they ignored that. So then I guess some point it's like, well, dog, we didn't have to pull him over for that. So we're gonna say that he had this hang tag in his window. Well, that's just a stupid reason, but there are laws on the books in different states about hang tags and stuff being in your wheel that's supposedly blocking your view, whatever. Not that you really care about people's vision when they driving, but any rate, that's the thing. So that's legitimate. But is that a reason for you to take him to jail? No, you can give him a citation and be like, you need to come to court or whatever, or pay this fine.
Well,
And so then when you find out he got a warrant,
right.
okay,
This
he
is
didn't have no warrant that called for you to take him to jail. Everybody that's police, I don't heard police or former police, lawyers and all say they could have gave him a same citation saying you need to come down. They did not have to arrest him at that point.
yeah, and this is where I come with the part of this story, and the judicial system failed everybody in this
Yeah, because the reason he had a warrant is
from two
according
years
to the
ago.
sources, they sent his thing to the wrong house, so he
Yeah,
didn't show up for his Zoom. All his other things around that case, he had shown up to court. They said the attorney was like, it ain't like he been trying to dodge. Like he's been showing up to court or showing up on Zoom or whatever on all the other ones. They sent his documentation or whatever for his Zoom link or whatever to the wrong place,
right.
and then they gave him a warrant. So everybody failed. But mostly the lady talking about taser, 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 and you shot him with a gun.
Yeah,
So we gotta stop. Brian, guns are so saturated in America. You don't like because there are countries, I don't said this before, where the police officers they don't carry their weapons on them. They have
right.
them in the car. They're in the vehicle in case you need it. But that's their first not thought is not lethal force. In America, it's all about lethal force. I was telling my mama, shout out mama. The part of the problem is police are trained to go to lethal force, and it don't matter what it is, because there's no reason to ever use lethal force in a traffic pullover unless you see a gun or think this is like somebody that's a threat that don't rob the bank. Like it's no reason for that to even be on the table for at the beginning of this pullover. So you got his name down. He ain't showing up as no wanted person, no gang, whatever. Feel like all he got is a warrant. Why is that in your mind? Well, if this go left, I'm shoot because they are taught to just see black people as nothing but a threat.
And that's not even just taught like in training. It's taught from birth, like to fear,
Yeah, it's indoctrinated
it's
and conditioned
to
to
fear
fear
different,
black people.
to fear different. Yeah, and that's seen as different.
Right. And I say believe, but I have to say black people. How many signs we seen Chinese, Japanese? You don't even see a lot of Latino. This young man was black and white, but you could clearly see he was a black, like fair skinned guy. I wouldn't have known his mom was white until she came on the scene and she was white. But at the end of the day, and it may be happening, but we ain't seen no video footage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that are just tired of seeing Ben Crump on TV, but here's the thing. I'm tired of it too. I wish he didn't have to be on
Right.
TV every time.
He should be making his money some other way than
Right.
keep going on for these civil rights cases that keep coming up.
And
because
who knows where this Derek Chauvin trial's fixing
and
to
that's what
go.
I was about to say. This the defense is where the both people the closing argument should be today. People are already nailing up stuff because,
The
like
NBA,
myself,
the
I
NBA
don't.
has contingency plans right now in place to, in case they have to postpone games.
Yeah, I don't see. I can see rather one of them jurors saying no, it was because he was on drugs and he had a heart attack.
Yeah, because
Regardless of what they see on that video, I
that
can
what
see that.
about isms that I've talked about in previous episode. What
Right, because they
about what
got to
he's
bring
going
up
through?
all how he did in another stop that was not related to this stop.
It
How
it,
he was
it
scared to get out or whatever. I was just like, come on, bro.
it drives me nuts when and I only hear it honestly when it comes to people of color. They give excuse after excuse. Well, he was on drugs, or he was this, or he was that, or he had a warrant. He should have just
He
complied.
smoked marijuana one time.
And
Trayvon Martin, they tried to pull something out of him getting in trouble with some marijuana. What does that got to do with this vigilante white domestic terrorist shooting him, talking about he didn't belong in that neighborhood, and he very well did. Speaking of which, you saw
I'm so
military
glad.
dude.
Yes, the light bulb went off as soon as you talked about not belonging in the neighborhood. Yes.
I
Oh,
was just like, really?
and he was actually that man was actually charged, I believe.
Yeah, he was charged with something because he
Uh,
pushed him, maybe some kind of assault charge. He gonna probably get some kind of military discipline because he is in the military.
so
And
he
a whole bunch of black people showed up in front of their house and was pretty much making a noise because it's just like, what you mean? How you gonna tell him he don't belong in that neighborhood? We
I
a
watched
close knit community.
I
I know
watched a
everybody
couple
that
of
live here. I'm so tired of hearing that.
I watched like an hour's worth of somebody live streamed it on YouTube. And I was like, wow.
You know, the lady that shot Dante, they don't put a whole fence around her house, if I'm not mistaken. And
Mm,
I was just like, bruh. And I want the human in me. You know, I disassociated from humans, but that don't mean it disassociated from me. Uh, you just don't want to think that somebody would do that intentionally,
right.
but it can't be off the table that it was intentional. And I say that because 26 years you have been on the force. Now, all 26 of those years, Taser's probably not been a part of the equation. But
Right.
I've heard officers talk about how much they train to make sure, like taser gun. You are a trainer, so let's take it another step. You are the person that train people. How can you?
She
Come on.
actually was training on that stop.
So it's just how do you? If you're training somebody, you're trying to make sure you get all the details right, so you can say they were trained the right way. And you pull out a gun. Oh, because your first thing is black threat. Forget because you know we have habitual. So our motor skills are gonna go to habit. Pull gun. Your mind probably said, I need to get my taser out because I'm training this guy. But your auto system said gun, threat gun.
Yeah.
And so now somebody's son dead. Now they're gonna have to pay millions of dollars. And that ain't gonna bring this kid back. And apparently uh, they don't want to try to change any rules because you would think twice if you have to know that you're gonna get a civil suit because you know you can't sue police for civil. You can make an agreement with
Yeah.
the
Which
state and all, but
goes back to things we've said on past episodes where there needs to be some accountability. I don't know that we said it. I think we did it. You and I were texting back and forth. There has to be some kind of accountability
it's
for
got to be
police
a
officers.
negative consequence for these actions. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep pepper spraying people because I know nobody's gonna do anything. You saw the lady 15 years ago. Police officer sees her fellow officer choking a suspect who is handcuffed,
Hmm.
and he's about to kill him. Basically, she intervenes, which is what we would want people to do. He hits her in the face,
Hmm.
and like it's pretty much like don't ever do whatever. He goes on to sue her for $20,000 or $30,000. He got $20,000, sued her for defamation of his character or something. She lost her job. They tried to take away her pension. But then the Supreme Court had looked at it 15 years. I'm sure they would do filing, new things, appeals or whatever all along. 15 years later, she's vindicated. They was like, no, she was right for doing that. And she's one of the reasons that they have not every state, but states have the it's I think it's her name maybe. It's something that calls for police to intervene if they see a fellow officer doing wrong. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
part of
can't
their
think of it right this second, but yeah, you
yeah.
are right.
But 15 years, Brian, she been running around, she been doing whatever she had to do to survive. But having to pay him $20,000? Because if he handcuffs, why you choking him? Like got
Right.
him in a chokehold.
There's no need.
So um So we got to do better, America. But America not gonna do better. People keep talking about they Second Amendment rights. Like I said, it's saturated with guns. We pretty violent. The place was founded on violence, stealing, human trafficking, running natives off their land. And so I mean, it's in the fabric of the place. So I don't know that it's much gonna change.
And
And
a lot
until
of a lot of those Second Amendment people that go
they ain't
on and
read a
on
book,
about holding on to their guns, and they're holding on to their guns, and literally the second or third thing that come out of their mouth is because of their fear. They won't say it's not. They don't say it like that, but it's the fear of people of color. It's the fear that Donald Trump put in them of Mexicans come over here to rape their children and their
well, that
wives.
ain't just Donald. The people that's
I'm just
been a
using that as
that's
an
been a
example.
GOP talking point.
I know. I'm just using that as an example because that's here recently, where he just wanting to build that wall because Mexicans come in here raping and killing. No,
So yeah, they in love with the guns. They don't want to change. Like I told somebody, until middle and upper middle class white people decide to vote and change the way they vote, because that's the swing votes. The rich ain't gonna if GOP gonna keep giving them tax breaks, they gonna keep taking them. I don't foresee them changing. But the middle upper middle class, y'all the votes.
yeah.
55% of white women voted for that man. 75 million Americans thought he was an okay guy and wanted him to run this country. So imagine that.
See, there is nothing that says he won't be back in 2024 to go again.
Besides, he got bad health. Other than that, I don't even think bad health precludes you from running. So, yep, he could try to run again. And
That's it.
the way he got enough people that it might shake things up over there in the GOP side. I don't know that he'll run as a Republican again. If he did, he probably run as something else. I guess independent because it really unless he make up a party name in the next 3 years, him and whoever his cronies are.
Well, according to him, he's the greatest president black people ever had. So,
But we don't need any more of your greatness. We
you
please
know.
don't let that happen again, Lord.
Uh, speaking of
But on
things,
to funner things,
speaking of sayings that don't make any sense,
things that don't make sense.
what you got for us this week?
Lord, you ain't got nothing. Look, we talked about this one.
Like I said,
Sleep tight, don't let the bed bug bite. Okay, first of all, I can't sleep when bed bugs. If that's even on the table, Brian, what I'm gonna do with that?
I,
First of all, I'm gonna be thinking about that.
the whole time I'm trying to sleep.
My sleep tightness ain't gonna work. I don't know who came up with that. It don't sound good, and apparently y'all dirty because y'all got bed bugs as an option on the table.
Right.
Um, Brian, what is winter chicken dinner? Ain't you heard somebody say that?
I have heard that my entire life. Yes.
What is winter chicken dinner? I don't even know what it. Why we put chicken dinner on the end of it? Is that because it rhyme?
I
I,
guess.
see, just go with it. I
I
guess.
ain't got no answer for you. I know. I know.
I don't give a who shot John, Brian.
Oh, Lord.
I don't give a who shot John.
Oh, who
Well,
shot
okay,
John?
I don't know how they got together, but I don't give a who shot John either. fighting like cats and dogs. Now, theoretically, if you watch like and I say Tom and Jerry, but that's a cat and a mouse. But you know that dog always be getting into it too. But you really don't see a lot of cats and dogs fighting, so I don't know why this is a thing. And maybe whoever came up with that fighting like cats and dogs saw a
Mm.
lot of cats and dogs fighting. Because usually cats take off running, like they might agitate the dog and then climb up a tree or something where the dog
Yeah,
can't get
videos
to it.
you'll see cat go pop and then run off.
Yeah, so it's just to be like, well, when they fight like a cat and dog, okay, well, yeah, sure. Um, and this is bad, but sweating like a hoe in church. Brian, what, Brian, we got to stop. It's so much. It's so much. Just say I was sweating profusely or something. Just yeah. Um,
No, mm.
that's it. That's
straight
it
from
for
straight from the horse's mouth.
out of the horse's mouth.
I think we
Yeah,
said that one.
yeah. Because we talked about Mr. Ed.
Yeah, Lord have mercy.
And what's a Dickens? Did we talk about Badass Dickens? Because
Man,
what's a Dickens?
my dad says that one all the time, and he says it like where it makes absolute. At least there are some situations where you can throw it in there where you can say, "Oh, okay, I understand." I don't know what.
Well,
The
when we
Dickens
say
is.
them, they fit, and we kind of know what they talking about. But what is a Dickens?
Yeah, that's
I'm
the part.
Badass the Dickens.
Yeah,
Uh,
it
what's
burns
a
like the
Dickens?
Dickens.
It's
It burns
something
like the
bad,
Dickens.
clearly. But what is it actually?
What about low man on the totem pole?
Well, I don't know how totem poles work.
I mean, I know their
And
faces, but
well,
I'm
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if your stuff at the bottom of the totem pole is that bad, like I don't know. I thought that was like something that was
maybe
good in
that's for
general. So who knows, Brian? Who knows why we say what we say? We just be out here. You hear something, it sound good, and you go with it.
a chip on your shoulder.
I, yeah, I heard somebody talk about. Did they say Chris Paul played with one? Some recently, I
Yes,
just
he
heard
plays
somebody
with
talking
one on
about
his
a basketball player playing with a chip on their shoulder. It
chip.
might have been Westbrook.
Mm, I could. This really just makes the dog dumb, but barking up the wrong tree. The dog could just be stupid and looking for a cat or a squirrel that
The
went up.
dog could see or smell something that you don't because their senses are like super magnet, like they got superhero smell.
It'll
So
cost you an arm and a leg.
maybe they was cutting people arms and legs off to buy stuff in some days. That's all I know.
Ooh,
That's all I got, Brian. And we be saying this stuff. It's sad,
yeah. Everything that
but
you
we be
brought up the
saying
last
it.
couple of weeks, I've literally said my whole life and never understood it.
So, last but not least, this is not a saying, but we want to give a shout out to the last, well, what was the oldest living American.
Yes,
Um, Lord, what did I say her name was?
Hester,
She was 116 and she going on to glory. Um, wow, 116, Brian.
North Carolina
Man.
resident Hester Ford.
So rest in power, ancestor Esther, Hester.
Hester, yes, indeed. 116.
116.
She's seen it. She's seen it all.
1905.
Mm.
Well, thereabout. I don't know what month it was, so I'm just like, bruh. We be saying, oh, it's Methuselah. Like, that's like for real. That's for real, for that.
Oldest living American. So who next on the list? I want to
Right. Who got the award now that she gone on to glory?
rest in power, Hester. And as always, I'm one of your hosts, Brian Mackay, and I am with.
T, get your vaccine. Everybody should be able to get vaccinated at this point. That's gonna do it. Go ahead and get registered. Davis.
And this has been the Mackay T Show podcast. Thank you for listening. Shout out to Judy.
Yep, Judy. Send us some more stuff, ideas.
This is the Mackay T Show. This is the Mackay T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian Mackay and T Davis. Yeah. You can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.